the TLM, what is this? I can't believe this. I just heard about it. There's all these people going. It's traditional Latin. I thought Latin was dead. It's a mass. What are you talking about? I never heard of it. I just heard of the regular mass that I've been going to, that my aunt has been going to, my parents have been going to, where I got baptized and confirmed. All these masses across the world all have the same liturgies and first and second readings, and we stand and we sit and we chant. There's Latin mass? What is this? Why is this popular? Why is this booming? Why are there so many people returning to the ancient mass that has been going on forever? They call it the Mass of the Ages. Well, I am a guy that's been going for a couple of weeks now, and I looked around on Sunday, and there is a moment every single Sunday, and it's always at a different part of the TLM where something happens where I just can't even reply. I get emotional. This Sunday, it was the ending song. It was the Corpus Christi where they processed around the church, and I couldn't keep it together. I was just surrounded by these angelic voices, all these women around me that were just piping out these incredible notes, and I couldn't follow along. I was like, if I start singing with them, I'm going to be like a baby and just start letting it out. I don't even know where it's coming from. But I got some reasons why. The first is modern church. Once you go to the TLM, it's like getting into a spaceship as opposed to a Model T Ford. When I first went, I was in the back row. I had no idea what I was doing. The guy to my left was banging the pew or the riser up and down against my shins. Oh, we're supposed to sit. We're supposed to kneel. We're supposed to genuflect. Okay, I didn't know what to do. Then the second time, I still sat literally in the back row, and I'm looking around. Why are there so many people on confession? Why are there so many people here 30 minutes before Mass? Why are there so many people staying 30 minutes after Mass? Why are there so many people below the church getting coffee and bagels and talking about Jesus Christ? We already went to Mass. We don't need to talk about him anymore. And then I started going more and more and more. And what I've noticed over the last, say, 6 months, it's been a couple of weeks, I think I just said, it's probably been about 6 months on and off, and now I regularly attend the Latin Mass, is that you start to move up. You start to graduate from the back row. And I'm going to tell you, men specifically, sit in the front, sit with the older, really devout Catholics, the women that are 5'1", 5'2", that were literally sitting in the pew from yesterday before the Mass just to get the front row. Sit with them. Be with them. That's where you need to be, not in the back row where I was as a newbie, especially if you know what's going on, especially if you have the little handbook or you have the missal. Sit in the front row. That's my call out for you men. Why is the modern church feel empty? Once you go to something that has a structure, that has a reasoning behind it, not just I go there, now I stand, I sit, now I say the Our Father, okay, now I take the Eucharist on my hand, okay, I genuflect, people talk before Mass, people talk afterwards. That bugged me. When I first really started coming into the church, to the first point is it felt empty. It felt like there's no reverence. It felt like, I don't even like the word feeling, but it seemed like there was just there's this grounding that was not there in the Novus Ordo. I would go to the Novus Ordo, everyone's talking like it's a football game, and then Mass ends, and then everyone talks like it's a football game again. I'm like, do we even believe on what just happened? Do we believe that this is a true sacrifice, that what this priest did is exactly what Jesus Christ did on the Last Supper? Do we believe that? Do we believe in the Transfiguration? When was the last time people went to confession? We need to go to confession. Anyway, so they're looking for something that's not stripped down, something that actually upholds the entire tradition that our ancestors, our great-grandfathers, our great-grandmothers, all the people that go all the way back before Luther, all of them participated in globally and knew and had feast days all 1/3 of the year. They were fasting or abstinence or praying. Everyone was chaste. Everyone was getting married. It was a beautiful time, regardless of what they say. And I have a video coming about. The reverence hits different. This is what I was just talking about. When you go to a Novus Ordo, I went to another one with my mom. I was visiting my mom. It was crazy. I walk in at 15 minutes before, there was maybe 6 or 7 people in this massive, it's 3 massive wings. At least 1,000 people can fit in there. At least 1,000 people can fit in this. And I looked around, there was maybe 25 people. I go, it's at 9 o'clock, right? It's a Sunday too. This isn't a Saturday or a weekday Mass. My mom's like, yeah, it's at 9. Everyone shows up. By the time it's time to take the host, I turn around. I go, what the heck? Where did everyone come from? Then hundreds of people literally stormed in a minute before it started, 2 minutes before they started. Literally, again, everyone was talking like nothing was sacred. After Mass, everyone's walking around the altar. No one's genuflecting. No one's walking in front of the tabernacle and doing the sign of the cross and genuflecting. There was no reverence. I just felt bad that if they knew that what they're doing. Anyway, beauty converts the heart. In the TLM, there is a certain beauty and rhythm that goes with the Latin Mass that is not in the Norvis Ordo. The Norvis Ordo feels like a heartbeat that just goes like this. It's like up, down, but not even like kneeling, praying, sitting, anything out. Okay, I talk, I don't talk. Okay, I join in, I then. It's like there's this weird, not like in rhythm kind of reverence. Within the Latin Mass, there's this beautiful arc. There's this beautiful beginning to the middle to the end, all the way through, that just between the chants and what the priest wears and the Latin and what we say and how we respond and when we kneel, everything makes a difference in the Latin Mass. Men are showing up again. I just made a video about why young people are coming to the Mass. There's another reason that men are coming to the Mass is because they're being called up instead of called out. They were called out because they were like me. I was of the world for about 50, 60 years. They were playing tennis, playing golf. They didn't care about the Lord. They didn't believe in God. They were gaming. They were watching illicit material. They were playing fantasy football. They were doing all this nonsense, drinking too much. There's a God, but I'm a good person, so who cares about it? And they essentially just vacated the pews. And then the women said, that's crazy. They were the only ones upholding the faith. And now men actually are starting to understand, oh, okay, when the pews of the men are empty, in other words, men are not in the pews, society turns into chaos. People don't get married. People don't care about having children. Things get expensive. There's no reverence. There's no art. There's no truth. There's no beauty. There's no liturgy. Everything just dies. It withers. There's no energy put to the actual sustaining of sacred life. Staying chaste is a novel. It's novel, but it's not something for me. Men are finally showing up again because they love discipline. They love the spiritual challenge. They're not passive. They're not ambiguous. Number 5 is, along with the lines, is that there is a demand for sacrifice. Okay, I read a book recently about fasting. Fasting for the Catholics forever was almost 1/3 of the year. And a lot of the fasts, their first meal was after sunset. Okay, especially if you're in the religious orders. They had crazy fasts. They had crazy abstinence. Well, almost 1/3 of the year were feast days. And for those feast days, you couldn't have a meal either for the full day or until the sun went down. And then especially if it's a Friday or Saturday, they fasted Wednesdays and Fridays. So this whole notion of sacrifice because I wasn't on my phone for a half an hour, or the sacrifice where I fasted for 24 hours one time my entire last year is disgusting. That's embarrassing, to be honest. When you're reading that book, I just go, I should be ashamed of myself. I don't even consider myself a percentage of an atom within someone's body that came 500 years ago. And they had nothing compared to the luxuries or conveniences that we have today. And they still sacrificed. They didn't have the water, the running water, any of the things that we have today. But they had the love of the Lord. They had the fear of the Lord. They had the reverence of the Lord. They had the liturgy of the Lord. They had the sacrifice, and everybody believed in it. The whole town shut down. There's nothing open on Sundays. We just praised and kept the Sabbath holy. Tradition is the sacrifice, especially, as I forgot to say this, confession. Men, you got to go back to confession. Women, you got to go back to confession. You're not a perfect person. You definitely sinned. Look up venial sins, look up mortal sins, look up how to actually do a proper examination of consciousness. Okay, that's where I really feel like a disgusting sinner, is where I just start putting all the times I could have just been a better human into a big bullet point list. And I'm like, all right, here you go, Father. Here it comes. It's been 2 weeks. People are tired of relativism. I brought this up. I filmed it. I don't know when it's coming out, but look it up on my channel. Relativism is the bane of society. Relativism has led to the greatest decline in anything humanity has ever seen in our lifetime. Relativism is completely the reason for chaos and no structure and the devil running rampant and people going to hell and no confession and no Eucharist and no reverence and no beauty and no truth. Everything is relative. Nobody has a truth. It's your truth, my truth. It doesn't matter. There is no bulwark of truth. There is no way to live. Who cares about fasting? Don't worry about the real presence. Don't go to confession. Don't be a good person. Don't have a sacramental marriage. Don't wait until marriage. Don't stay chaste. Eat as much as you can, drink as much as you can, have all the drugs you can. Buddhism is okay. All this stuff is all relativism. It's the worst thing. We lived through decades. I wrote down here centuries, and it has collapsed in of itself. Okay, because it's not based on truth. There's no truth to relativism because there is no divinity and there is no Jesus Christ. There is no Holy Spirit. There is no Father, God the Father surrounding it. Tradition just says, well, it's all about subjectivity. Whatever I think is true. Order is the new counter-resistance. This is the counterculture. In the 90s, it was Rage Against the Machine. Now it's Rage Against the Machine, but different. The machine is chaos. The machine is the world. It's the desires. It's the flesh. It's the pleasures. It's what we desire. While the world goes to chaos, tradition offers clarity, feast days, fasting, literature, rhythm, spiritual warfare. People are embracing structure. They're embracing an actual way to live the life. That is the Catholic life. The Eucharist looks like what it is. This is number one reason to be in the TLM. The priest is not facing you. He doesn't care about you. You have no idea where he's coming from. You have no idea about his backstory. All you know is he is consecrating the host that has been going on for hundreds, if not over 1,000 years. I have no idea when the TLM was fully on board to be what we see structurally today. I know there's been changes, Vatican II, especially the TLM. The TLM was this thick, the missal, now it's this thick, so they ripped out a lot. Just as a little FYI, I have both. I have the Father Laurence, or Lassance, I forgot his name, but he talks about a lot, or he compiled an amazing liturgy. The traditional liturgy is people kneel, the priest whispers. We're not even a part of it. We don't need to be a part of it. It feels like something is sacred because it is. It draws us to the actual New Testament, the actual New Covenant. The actual new way to live is taking the Lord instead of sacrificing a lamb, which was the Old Testament. Moving on. This is what saints were formed in. Augustine to Aquinas to Kolbe, Maximilian Kolbe. This is where the saints were forged. They're forged through the TLM. They're forged through the fasting, the liturgical year of the Catholic calendar, just going through it, through generations. Their kids had it. There's only 3 ways to live. Sacred life, become part of the priest or religious orders as a nun, become chaste and then sacramentally married, or live chaste but not married. That was it. It was chaste. Either way, until you were married, or stay chaste. In either way, it's surrounded, and you put the church first. You put the church first. You had sacrifices and feast days and fastings towards the church. And then this is where people woke up to the crisis. They looked around. They saw that the pews were emptying. They looked around. They saw that the priests weren't reverent. They saw that the priests were not really, and obviously, yes, it's not about the homily or what they say at the altar, but it has a lot to do with the TLM versus the non-TLM. When I go to a TLM, the guy gives a really structured homily, just pre-written, unbelievable, just beating you over the head with history and church and what this means in this feast day and what's coming up and what did we just proclaim last week. You go to a Novus Ordo, God is love. We know that God is love. We've been hearing that for 50, 60 years. We want more. We're clenching for more. People are drawing themselves back. Souls are drawing themselves back. They're looking for tradition. They want to live in truth because they're seeing everything else collapse. They're seeing all this noise on TikTok, all this noise on social media. It's all beige. There's no black and white where this is right, this is wrong. It's all whatever you want. There's incense, there's silence, there's tradition, there's worship. There's not a TED Talk. There's not a band playing. There's no Protestantism in there at all. So leave your comments below. Have you visited a TLM? What's your thoughts on the TLM? Why do you think it's actually booming? I love it. I literally cannot go anywhere else. I was just talking to a woman who's been going to TLM for maybe 3 to 4 years, and then she went to a Novus Ordo talk, and she goes, I just cannot go back. I just can't go back. It's impossible to go from a traditional Catholic priest to somebody who's of the world in a seminary who just says, yeah, it's fine that you could walk across without genuflecting in front of the tabernacle. It doesn't really matter. Before or after Mass, you can talk whenever you want. This Mass or this church has structure, it has order, it has a rhythm to it. You don't disrespect walking inside. You don't disrespect the entire holiness of the four corners of the church. And I just remember looking around the first time I went, I said, this place used to be packed. And ironically enough is that they're probably going to have to open up the upstairs because more people are going to be entering it. So if you find this great, subscribe to the videos. Of course, leave your comments below. Give me your opinions. If you have any topics you want me to cover, there is a link below, or go to the community here on YouTube. Just type it in. Charles, I want you to talk about this. I have a whole testimonial about how I came into the faith. Go check that out. Have a blessed day. And as always, pray, fast, and read your Bible.